Chosen one. Stop scrolling. Heaven has just paused your timeline. This moment is sacred. And it is not an accident that you are here right now. Everything within you has been stirring, whispering that something greater is taking shape. And heaven confirms it. You are not imagining what you feel. You've sensed a pressure rising inside, a weight behind your thoughts, a pull you can't explain. There have been nights when you've stared at the ceiling, wondering why your spirit felt unsettled while everything around you seemed still. Heaven says, I am the cause of that stirring. This is not confusion, it's confirmation. The divine realm is aligning your awareness to heaven's frequency. You are being awakened, not overwhelmed. The restlessness you feel is the sound of your destiny knocking on the door of your present. Every delay, every silence, every closed door has been divine choreography, not rejection. You have been hidden on purpose. Listen carefully. You are not like the rest. You were never called to fit comfortably into ordinary places. You've been wondering why the atmosphere shifts when you enter a room. Why conversations suddenly feel shallow. Why the things that once satisfied you now leave you empty. It is because your spirit has outgrown the cage of complacency. Heaven is expanding your capacity. Every sleepless night, every misunderstood tear, every quiet act of faith, heaven saw it all. The moments you thought were wasted have been counted as seeds in sacred soil. You were being cultivated for revelation, not comfort. The anointing you carry demanded isolation. Chosen one. The Spirit of God is interrupting your routine because your next chapter cannot begin while you're still interpreting yourself through the lens of who you used to be. The old you would have settled for peace at any price. But heaven is teaching you that peace without purpose is just another kind of prison. You felt this for weeks, haven't you? The sense that time is moving differently, that conversations are timed too perfectly, that certain names and places keep returning. It's not your imagination, it's orchestration. Heaven is arranging your reality around revelation. Every sign has been a whisper of confirmation. Every strange coincidence, a divine breadcrumb leading you home. You are being summoned into spiritual accuracy. What you feel is your discernment sharpening. The old sensitivity that made you feel too emotional was actually your radar being tuned to divine frequencies. You were always meant to feel deeper, see further, love stronger, because you carry a light that terrifies darkness. And now, the divine speaks. Your waiting has purpose. What seemed delayed was protection. The silence that frustrated you was heaven's shield, blocking access from what could have destroyed your peace. You are stepping out of the shadows of survival into the clarity of calling. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. This is your morning, chosen one. Heaven has confirmed what your heart has been sensing. The tears that watered your pillow were not wasted. They were baptisms of becoming. The heaviness is lifting because the divine has declared, it is time. You are stepping into a realm where what was once hidden will now be revealed. The veil that blurred your understanding is being torn, and you will see clearly why every delay had purpose. Heaven is not giving you explanations, it's giving you revelation. And that is far more powerful. Angels have already gone before you, arranging the path that your obedience will soon walk upon. You don't have to chase alignment anymore. Alignment is chasing you. Every decision guided by peace will unlock favor. The atmosphere is preparing to respond to your yes with undeniable evidence. Remember, the confirmation you have been praying for is already written in heaven's archives. You are simply catching up to what has been decreed over your life long ago. The moment you choose faith over fear, the invisible becomes visible, and your reality begins to echo heaven's original design. So, breathe deeply. Let your shoulders relax and your spirit settle. You are safe in this divine interruption. Heaven has orchestrated this moment to remind you, you have not been abandoned, you have been anointed. What you feel now is the sound of heaven drawing near. If this message resonates in your soul, let heaven know you receive it. Like, share, and subscribe so the message reaches other chosen ones who are awakening just like you. And in the comments, type this prophetic number, 111, a symbol of divine alignment and fresh beginnings. Chosen one. Heaven sees the weight you've been carrying, that invisible heaviness that sits on your chest each morning before you even open your eyes. Heaven knows. The world sees your smile, your strength, your steady pace, but they do not see the silent battles beneath your calm. Heaven does. Every moment you thought no one noticed, heaven watched with compassion. You've been asking quietly, why do I feel so much? Why do I carry the pain of others as if it were my own? And heaven answers, because you were trusted with sensitivity that comes from divine purpose. What feels like a burden is actually evidence of your calling. You are carrying spiritual weight because you are built to shift atmospheres. There is nothing accidental about your pain. The heartbreaks that tried to break you were actually divine workouts, stretching your endurance for the mission ahead. Every disappointment was strength training for your faith. You were not crushed, you were pressed into purpose. The oil of anointing does not flow without pressure. And heaven chose you because you could endure what others would abandon. You have wondered why some prayers seemed unanswered, why certain people walked away, why your heart had to learn the hard way. But the truth is, heaven was protecting you through redirection. Every closed door was a shield. Every no was heaven's louder, not yet. You were not being punished. You were being prepared for sacred responsibility. Do you remember the nights when exhaustion felt heavier than your body could carry? Yet somehow you still woke up with courage to face another day. That resilience was not your own. It was divine strength, disguised as routine survival. Heaven poured grace into your lungs every morning, whispering, "Get up, chosen one. Your story is not over yet." 11. You have been walking through seasons that demanded more faith than explanation. People may never understand the silent wars you fought. But that doesn't matter, because heaven does. The divine has been near in every tear. Every moment your spirit whispered, "I can't do this anymore." Heaven was not far. Heaven was closer than your breath. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." That invitation is still open to you. Heaven is not demanding perfection from you. It's offering restoration. The rest you've been craving is not found in escape, it's found in surrender. You have been trying to carry a weight that only grace can lift. The divine does not want you to prove your strength. It wants to show you its strength through your surrender. Chosen one, your pain has been a teacher. It taught you how to discern fake light from true illumination. It revealed who was for you and who was sent to drain you. It refined your heart to recognize authenticity. So, when divine partnerships arrive, you will not mistake them for distractions. The heaviness you carry is sacred. It is compassion born from experience. You know what heartbreak feels like, so now you carry healing in your hands. You know what loneliness feels like, so your presence brings comfort to others. You know what silence from heaven sounds like, so now your voice becomes a vessel of reassurance for those still waiting. And that, beloved, is why you've been entrusted with this emotional weight. It isn't to crush you, it's to shape you. The tears you shed are watering future deliverances. Every ache, every unanswered question, every lonely prayer is becoming the language of empathy that will heal others when you speak. Do not despise your heaviness. Heaven calls it holy. Every burden you carry is being transformed into breakthrough for someone else. That's how divine mathematics works. Nothing you endure is wasted. What once felt like punishment is now being repurposed into power. You are not behind schedule. The heaviness has slowed you down on purpose so you wouldn't run ahead of grace. You are being taught to walk with God, not race ahead in your own strength. Every delay has been a mercy in disguise. You have been faithful with little, faithful with pain, faithful with loneliness, faithful with uncertainty. And heaven is about to entrust you with much. The same hands that carried burdens will soon carry blessings. The same shoulders that bore sorrow will bear crowns. Lift your head, chosen one. The weight you've carried has not been in vain. Heaven confirms this truth. Every tear has purpose. Every ache has instruction. Every heaviness has redemption written within it. The divine will not allow your suffering to expire without glory. And when that moment comes, and it will, you will look back and understand why heaven trusted you with weight others could not carry. The burden that once bent you will become the strength that stabilizes you. Heaven never intended to break you, only to build you into someone unshakable, chosen one. You have entered the season where silence speaks the loudest. Heaven has quieted every other voice so that you can finally hear the one that truly matters. For weeks, you have been asking, why can't I hear God like before? Why does everything feel so still? But listen carefully, the silence is not absence. It is divine communication in its purest form. When heaven grows silent, it is because the next instruction requires stillness. Your spirit is being recalibrated to recognize whispers instead of thunder. You've matured past needing loud confirmations. Now heaven trains you to discern gentle movements. The quiet moments are not punishment, they are preparation. The divine does its greatest work in hidden rooms where no applause can reach. This silence is not rejection. It is refinement. The noise that used to surround you has been stripped away because the next phase of your calling demands precision. You are learning to trust the unseen hand of God when the evidence disappears. And though your mind wrestles, your spirit already knows heaven is closer in the quiet than it ever was in the chaos. There were times you felt forgotten. Prayers seemed to vanish into the ceiling, and the silence echoed louder than any promise. Yet even in that emptiness, something within you kept believing. That inner persistence, that refusal to give up, that was not your own strength. That was divine endurance flowing through your weakness. You may not realize it, but you've grown. You handle disappointment differently now. You process pain through purpose instead of panic. You no longer beg for signs, you listen for peace. That transformation didn't happen through noise, it was birthed in silence. The quiet hours of doubt and stillness sculpted the warrior within you, as was spoken in the sacred texts of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Oh, those words were not just written for a nation long ago, they were written for you. Right now, your strength is not in movement, but in stillness. Heaven is teaching you how to stand firm without forcing outcomes. There is power in pausing, in breathing, in waiting without fear. Chosen one. This quiet is sacred ground. Heaven whispers in frequencies the anxious heart cannot hear. If you can be still long enough, revelation will rise from within you. You will realize that what felt like silence was actually saturation, heaven filling your soul with clarity before the breakthrough comes. Do not mistake divine silence for divine neglect. The gardener does not speak to the seed while it's buried, yet growth is taking place in that dark soil. You are that seed. Heaven has hidden you beneath stillness to strengthen your roots before your branches stretch toward visibility. You are being equipped to hear differently. The noise of comparison, the distraction of fear, the echoes of past failures, they are all being muted. Only truth will remain. And when the next instruction comes, you will know it's heaven because peace will confirm it instantly. This silence is sculpting your discernment. It's teaching you to rest instead of react, to listen instead of chase. You are becoming fluent in heaven's language, stillness. Every divine elevation begins with a season of holy quiet. This is where you learn to trust the unseen process. So instead of asking, "Why is God silent?" begin to ask, "What is heaven saying through the silence?" You'll begin to notice subtle confirmations, the way your heart feels lighter after prayer, the verse that catches your attention, the timing of a stranger's kindness. Heaven rarely shouts, it synchronizes. And in this quiet season, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see that the silence was never empty. It was full of intention, direction, and peace. Heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was integrating you into purpose. Let these words settle in your spirit. Not every silence is a test. Some silences are answers. What you perceive as delay is actually divine download. The quiet moments are heaven's way of saying, "Stay near. I'm not done yet." End quote. If this message resonates deep within, let heaven see your acknowledgement. Comment below, "I hear you." End quote. These three simple words are not just a reaction, they are a declaration. When you type them, you are aligning yourself with divine awareness, saying, "I am ready to hear beyond noise. I am ready to discern the whispers." This is your act of agreement with heaven's frequency. Chosen one. You are learning to find power in quiet places, strength in still moments, and confirmation in what others call silence. Heaven is not far, it's within your breath, between your thoughts, and wrapped around your waiting. Hold still. The next sound you hear will be divine instruction breaking through the quiet. Chosen one. The signs have been all around you, woven into the ordinary days you almost overlooked. Heaven rarely speaks through thunder and lightning. It prefers the subtle rhythm of the everyday, the whisper in the wind, the pause in your breath, the timing of an encounter. These are not random. They are divine fingerprints on your timeline. You have been sensing something unusual lately. A song plays at the exact moment your heart aches, and its lyrics feel like a message addressed to you. You glance at the clock, and the same number pattern appears again. Someone speaks words you were just thinking, and chills run down your spine. These are not coincidences. Chosen one. They are coordinates, proof that heaven has been tracing your path with precision. The divine realm does not need grand gestures to communicate. Heaven hides revelation inside repetition, using small echoes to draw your attention. You see it when a verse appears in two different places in the same day. When a stranger's kindness mirrors the prayer you whispered last night. Heaven has been confirming its presence through gentle alignment. Sometimes the smallest details speak the loudest truths. The right door opens at the exact second you almost give up. The message you didn't plan to hear reaches you at the moment your hope falters. Heaven is deliberate in timing, and every delay has been part of that orchestration. When you stop calling these moments luck, you will begin to call them guidance. As the Apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 18. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. That truth carries the essence of your current awakening. You are being trained to perceive the eternal hidden beneath the temporary, what others call interruptions. You now see as interventions. What seemed like confusion becomes confirmation once you realize heaven is speaking through alignment, not coincidence. You may have doubted yourself at first. You thought, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I'm reading too much into things. But heaven confirms that your intuition is not imagination. It is revelation trying to find language in your consciousness. You are learning to trust that inner nudge, the one that tells you when something is off. When something is holy, when something is divine, pay attention to the repetition of peace. When the same thought brings peace every time you revisit it, that is heaven's signature. When anxiety rises around a certain choice, that is not always fear. It might be divine resistance. Heaven speaks in stillness, but it also speaks through the weight of peace that settles after obedience. Chosen one. Every sign you've noticed lately is heaven drawing closer. The numbers, the timing, the coincidences, they are not to be worshipped, but to be recognized. They are tools, not idols. Heaven uses them to awaken awareness, to confirm that you are not walking blind. You are being guided moment by moment. When you follow these divine breadcrumbs, something powerful happens. Your decisions start aligning naturally with favor. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, without forcing anything. What once felt like chaos now unfolds as choreography. This is what walking in divine rhythm feels like, effortless alignment birthed from trust. Do not dismiss what feels small. The most powerful messages often arrive in whispers, a single sentence from a friend, a quiet nudge to change direction, a sudden stillness in your heart. All of these are heaven's way of steering you. The divine does not shout over noise. It waits for you to recognize its pattern. The more you notice, the more heaven reveals. Awareness is an invitation. Each moment of recognition unlocks a deeper level of revelation. The spiritual and the physical begin to merge, and you realize heaven has been involved in every detail all along. So today, take nothing for granted. Every delay, every meeting, every interruption is laced with divine timing. When you walk with awareness, even ordinary days become sacred. You will see that heaven has been speaking, not from a distance, but through everything surrounding you. The signs you've been seeing are not just messages, they are confirmations of relationship. They are proof that heaven knows you personally, intimately, and constantly. Each sign is a reminder that you are seen, known, and guided. Chosen one. The threads are coming together now. What once felt scattered and uncertain is slowly weaving itself into divine order. Heaven's confirmation is unfolding before your eyes, not through sudden explosions of glory, but through the quiet stitching of moments that only make sense when seen from above. You have walked through storms that tried to tear the fabric of your faith apart. Yet look at you still standing, still believing, still glowing. Every thread of pain, every fiber of patience, every knot of confusion was being sewn into a larger tapestry. You could not see the pattern while inside the weave. But now heaven begins to lift the canvas and show you nothing was wasted. This is the unveiling. Chosen one, the moment heaven confirms that your waiting has not been in vain. The things you felt were falling apart were actually falling into divine rhythm. The pieces of your story, scattered like shards, are becoming stained glass in heaven's cathedral of purpose. When light shines through them, the broken becomes beautiful. You've begun to sense the rhythm of grace moving through your life. A conversation that shifts your perspective. A delay that turns into protection. A no that leads to a better yes. All of it, heaven says, is confirmation that your steps have been guided even when your eyes could not see. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when heaven no longer hides what it's been doing, and this is that moment for you. The puzzle pieces align, the fog lifts, and your heart finally exhales. You see how divine intention was hidden inside your detours. You realize that the darkness you walked through was not punishment, it was preparation. We are reminded through the ancient words of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. Enu, you are one of those called ones. That's why the storms didn't destroy you. Heaven used them to shape you into someone unshakable. The fire you feared was not sent to burn you, it was sent to forge you. Like gold in the crucible, your faith was being refined until it reflected heaven's light more clearly. There is a strange beauty in the process of divine confirmation. It's like watching dawn after a long night. The horizon doesn't shout that the light is coming. It simply begins to glow. Slowly, steadily. Shadows retreat, and you realize the sun never left. It only hid long enough to teach you faith. Chosen one, this is your sunrise. The evidence is surrounding you. Opportunities once closed are reopening in unexpected ways. People you thought were gone forever are resurfacing to apologize, to reconnect, to fulfill their purpose in your story. Even your enemies are being used as instruments of divine validation. Heaven wastes nothing, not pain, not betrayal, not silence. And as the picture becomes clearer, gratitude begins to bloom. Gratitude is not just a polite response, it is spiritual currency. It opens the heavens wider. Every time you whisper, "Thank you," instead of "Why me?" you align yourself with divine flow. The grateful heart multiplies miracles. If this message stirs something deep within you, if you feel that divine warmth rising in your chest, pause for a moment. Breathe it in. You are witnessing confirmation in real time. Heaven is affirming that your journey has not been random. You are walking a crafted path. And as you receive this message, remember, The flow that feeds your spirit also depends on connection. When you share light, it multiplies. When you support what feeds your soul, you strengthen the channel through which heaven speaks. So if this word has touched you, if you feel the divine weaving truth into your heart, I invite you to help this message reach other chosen ones who are still searching for their confirmation. Like this message, share it forward, subscribe so you never miss the next revelation, and if you are led by the Spirit, consider sowing into this flow through your giving. Every act of generosity becomes another thread in heaven's tapestry, binding us together in light and purpose. You are not just a listener, you are a co-builder of divine movement. Your engagement is more than algorithmic, it's prophetic. When you lift up what carries truth, you become part of its expansion. Every click, every word, every seed shared becomes a ripple of awakening for someone who needs this reminder as much as you once did. Think of it like this: a candle does not lose its flame by lighting another. It multiplies illumination. The same is true here. Each time you share this message, you become a torchbearer in heaven's hands, guiding others through their own fog until they see the same confirmation you now witness. Chosen one. Heaven smiles on the generous, not because of what they give, but because giving proves they understand divine flow. You were never meant to hoard the light, you were meant to extend it. Every act of support, no matter how small, keeps this sacred voice echoing across the earth, reminding every listener that heaven still speaks. Chosen one. The reason the air around you feels heavier lately is because something unseen has been stirring. The battle that has raged in silence is not against your body, nor your emotions. It is a war for your destiny. The unseen realm has recognized your awakening, and darkness trembles when light begins to remember its power. You have felt the pressure, haven't you? The sudden exhaustion, the confusion that rises out of nowhere, the dreams that feel too vivid to dismiss. Heaven wants you to know you are not being attacked because you are weak, but because you have become dangerous. The moment your obedience increased, resistance intensified. The enemy never fights what does not threaten him. That's why the warfare around you has grown stronger. It's confirmation that you've crossed into new spiritual territory. The darkness that once intimidated you is now intimidated by you. Every night, you chose to pray through tears. Every morning, you rose again. Instead of quitting, each one was a victory recorded in heaven's archives. You carry light. Chosen one. You were born with it. And that light exposes every hidden thing. When you walk into a place, confusion breaks. Peace settles. Truth surfaces. That is why environments change when you arrive. The enemy's plan was never to destroy your destiny. It was to distract you from realizing you already carry heaven's authority. The warfare has been personal because your calling is public. You've been chosen to shift atmospheres, to speak truth into chaos, to stand when others bow. The loneliness you've felt lately is not abandonment. It is heaven pulling you aside to reveal secrets that cannot be shared with everyone. There is a level of anointing that only isolation can unlock. As the Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 19, "They will fight against you, but will not overcome you. For I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord." That promise is still alive in your timeline. Heaven has already written your victory. The opposition you see is just noise from defeated forces trying to distract you before manifestation arrives. Don't give their noise your attention. Keep your focus. Every spiritual battle you face is an indicator that breakthrough is near. The darkness knows your potential before you do. That's why it attacked your confidence, your relationships, and your rest. It wants to drain your strength, so you'll mistake fatigue for failure. But listen carefully. Heaven says you are not losing. You are transitioning. The shaking is not a collapse. It's a spiritual earthquake, making room for what's about to rise. You've been sensing this change. Your discernment has grown sharp. You can feel when something is off before it's visible. That is a divine gift. Don't suppress it. Don't apologize for being spiritually sensitive. Heaven made you this way so you could intercept attacks before they manifest. You are not paranoid, you are prophetic. This battle around you is not meant to break you, but to teach you authority. You are learning how to use your voice, how to stand in peace while the storm screams. Every chosen one must learn this balance, the art of resting in warfare. Your power is not proven by panic, it's proven by stillness. When you remain calm, the enemy loses control. Chosen one. Remember this. Light doesn't fight darkness by arguing, it simply shines. That's all you need to do now. Keep shining. Keep walking in integrity. Keep praying, even when it feels repetitive. Heaven is building something in silence that the world will soon see. Every attack has an expiration date. Every storm that roars will eventually run out of wind. The same God who brought you through the last battle will carry you through this one. You have survived too much to doubt his faithfulness now. The flames you walk through will not consume you, they will only refine you. Even your weakness has purpose. Heaven uses your vulnerability as proof that strength is not self-made, but divinely sustained. Every time you admit, "I can't do this without you," heaven replies, "Good, now watch what I can do through you." And you are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victory. The outcome has already been settled. The enemy can roar, but he cannot rewrite what heaven has decreed. You are sealed, protected, chosen, covered. So, take a deep breath. You are not losing ground. You are gaining ground invisibly. Heaven is reinforcing you, renewing you, preparing you. Soon, the battle that tried to break you will become the testimony that builds others. When you finish reading this, let heaven hear your agreement. Comment below the prophetic number 444, a number of divine protection, angelic covering, and spiritual foundation. When you type it, you are not performing a ritual. You are making a declaration that you recognize heaven's shield around you. It is your way of saying, "I am covered. I am unshaken. I will not fall." End. Chosen one. You have felt it, the loneliness that doesn't come from being unloved, but from being misunderstood. Heaven has been setting you apart, not because you've done something wrong, but because your calling demands clarity. You are being separated from noise so you can hear divine instruction clearly. Isolation is never comfortable, yet it is sacred. You've noticed the shift. Conversations that once felt easy now seem shallow. Crowds that once energized you now drain you. The places you used to run to for comfort no longer fit the size of your spirit. Heaven is not punishing you, it is promoting you. And every promotion requires separation. The process of being set apart feels like loss, but it is actually alignment. You are being repositioned for purpose. The divine has begun removing people, patterns, and habits that cannot travel with you to the next level. When heaven calls you higher, it also calls you away from what weighs you down. We are reminded through the words found in the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 21. There is a place near me where you may stand on a rock. Oh, that place near God is where you now stand, separated, yet surrounded. Heaven has placed you on holy ground, not to distance you, but to draw you closer. Every time you feel forgotten, remember that the wilderness is often the waiting room of destiny. Moses met God alone on the mountain. David was anointed in obscurity. Jesus prayed in solitude before revealing his glory. Being set apart is not rejection, it is redirection. Heaven is pulling you out of the crowd to prepare you for influence within it. The silence around you is not abandonment, it is focus. You are being trained in the art of stillness, so that when you speak, your words carry weight. Do you see how heaven has been trimming your life like a master gardener? Every branch that no longer bears fruit is being pruned, not to harm you, but to make room for new growth. The divine knows exactly what must be cut away for your spirit to flourish. Trust the pruning. What you lose now will return multiplied later. Chosen one. This season of separation is birthing sensitivity. You are learning to sense divine presence in ordinary moments, to recognize God's hand in every delay, to feel peace even when alone. You are being trained to carry presence without needing a crowd to validate it. It's natural to grieve what you're leaving behind. The spaces that once felt like home now echo with memories. But don't mistake emptiness for ending. Heaven empties before it fills. The cup must be poured out before it overflows again. You are not being erased, you are being rewritten. The isolation is revealing parts of you that were too noisy to hear before. Dreams you buried are resurfacing. Ideas that once felt too big now feel possible. This is not coincidence, it's clarity. Heaven is reintroducing you to the version of yourself that existed before disappointment tried to define you. And though it feels like no one understands, heaven does. The angels assigned to your path are closer than ever. They walk with you through the silence, shielding you while you are transformed. There is divine activity in the background, aligning opportunities, preparing hearts, and positioning favor for your next step. Do not rush this process. If heaven wanted you visible right now, it would have placed you in the spotlight. But exposure without preparation creates collapse. That's why heaven keeps you hidden until you are ready to handle what's being prepared for you. Trust the timing. It is mercy disguised as delay. Soon, the same people who questioned your quiet season will witness your rise. They will not understand how you grew so strong in silence, how your words suddenly carry wisdom, how your peace seems unbreakable, and you will simply smile, because you'll know the truth. Isolation was your classroom, and heaven was your teacher. So, rest in this holy solitude. Don't fill the quiet with noise. Sit with yourself. Let the Spirit search you, heal you, and remind you who you are. The same God who called you out will call you forth. You are not forgotten. You are in formation. Chosen one. Heaven is shaping you for visibility by first teaching you invisibility. Every moment of aloneness is building authority. When the time comes for you to step forward, you will not tremble. You will move with the certainty of someone who has already stood near God. The separation was never about loss. It was always about becoming chosen one. Heaven has begun to release you from the weight of old seasons. The doors that refused to open, the conversations that no longer flowed, the places that once felt alive but now feel hollow, all of it signals a holy expiration. Heaven is cutting ties, not to punish you, but to free your hands for what's ahead. There is a divine rhythm to endings. When God closes a chapter, the ink runs dry, no matter how hard you try to keep writing. That's why certain connections faded, no matter your effort. Heaven does not allow permanent attachments to temporary lessons. What you once called rejection was simply divine editing, removing what no longer carries your frequency. You have outgrown rooms that can no longer hold your spirit. That is not arrogance, it's evolution. The conversations that once fueled you now feel repetitive because your assignment has shifted. You can't shrink to fit spaces Heaven has already called you out of. This is your release season, the sacred moment when you let go of what you loved in order to receive what is truly yours. It hurts, doesn't it? To release what once felt so aligned, to walk away from what once felt like home. Heaven understands that pain. Every release is a small resurrection. Something in you must die for something greater to rise. That's why tears often accompany transition. They wash away the fingerprints of what can no longer stay. The divine is pruning your heart. Every memory that resurfaces, every name that echoes in your thoughts, every place you keep revisiting in your mind, these are gentle reminders from heaven that it's time to close the page. Nostalgia can be holy, but not if it becomes an altar. Some things you honor by leaving them behind. You may feel as if you're walking through fog right now, unable to see what comes next. But this in-between is sacred. The space between release and renewal is where transformation happens. You are shedding spiritual skin, shedding the version of yourself that belonged to old seasons. Heaven is not taking from you, it's making room within you. As it is written in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 6, a time to keep and a time to cast away. When you try to hold on to expired seasons, your spirit begins to ache. You can feel it in your body: fatigue, restlessness, frustration. Those are not random emotions. They are spiritual signals that your current environment no longer fits your growth. The same way a tree must release its leaves before new buds can form. Your soul must release what no longer serves its purpose. Do not fear the empty spaces. Heaven always fills what it empties. But it will not do so until you let go willingly. The divine never takes by force, it invites surrender. And when you finally release, peace floods in like a river, confirming that it was always meant to be this way. Chosen one. You have mastered endurance now. Heaven is teaching you release. The courage to let go is just as divine as the strength to hold on. Releasing is not weakness, it's trust in motion. It's saying, God, I don't need to understand to obey. That kind of surrender opens realms of favor logic could never reach. You will soon notice how light you feel once you stop carrying things not meant for this chapter. The mental fog will clear. Your energy will rise. Joy will return, not as fleeting happiness, but as steady contentment. That's how you'll know you've truly released. When you can remember the past without reliving its pain, heaven is turning your mourning into momentum. The losses you mourned are being rewritten as lessons, You will look back and realize those endings protected you from paths that would have stolen your peace. What you thought was loss was actually divine mercy dressed as disappointment. And then, something beautiful happens. You begin to bless what left. You stop questioning and start thanking. Gratitude replaces grief. You no longer crave what's behind you because you've tasted the freedom of moving forward unchained. This is maturity, seeing heaven's fingerprints even in goodbye. Chosen one. Release is the final test before elevation. The greater your next, the deeper your letting go must be. Trust that what is meant for you will return, renewed, and what was not meant to stay will fade without resistance. Do not chase what heaven has dismissed. Stand tall in your release. Let your heart unclench. Whisper your final thank you to what once was, and watch how heaven rushes to fill the space you just surrendered. The winds are shifting, and your spirit is lighter. The next chapter awaits, written in ink that only obedience can reveal. Chosen one. There is a voice that has been whispering within you, a gentle, steady presence that never leaves. It speaks in quiet intuition, in sudden understanding, in the inner pull that guides you away from danger and toward destiny. You've called it instinct, perhaps even coincidence, but heaven calls it divine dialogue. It is the voice of God echoing through the corridors of your spirit. That feeling you get when something just doesn't sit right, that nudge to pause before deciding, that peace that wraps around you when you finally choose correctly. That's not random. That's heaven's language inside you. God has not been silent. He has been speaking in ways that bypass your ears and go straight to your heart. Many people wait for thunder to confirm divine direction. But you, chosen one, have been chosen to hear the whisper. Heaven trusts your sensitivity because you've learned to listen even when logic disagrees. The voice within is not just guidance, it's partnership. It's heaven and humanity working together, breath to breath, step by step. You've been learning that obedience doesn't always make sense at first. The instruction to walk away from something good, to give when it seems unwise, to stay quiet when you want to defend yourself. These are all lessons in trust. Heaven is teaching you that the inner voice knows things your mind cannot yet see. As the Apostle reminds us in the book of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." You have been hearing his voice, chosen one, even when you didn't realize it. Every time you took a leap of faith and it somehow worked out. Every time you changed direction and later saw why it was that same voice leading you. You've been guided through invisible highways that only heaven could map. The inner voice often feels small, but it carries eternal weight. It won't compete with the world's noise. It will wait until you quiet your fears. That's why solitude has been so necessary. Heaven has been reducing distractions so you can discern the difference between divine instruction and emotional reaction. The more you honor that still voice, the louder it becomes in your life. Chosen one. You must know this. Heaven trusts you enough to speak to you directly. Prophets can confirm. Pastors can affirm. But your relationship with God is personal. You do not need intermediaries to know his heart. You carry his spirit within you. Every time you pause and listen, heaven smiles because you are operating as intended. But this gift also carries responsibility. The more clearly you hear, the more precisely you must obey. Heaven measures your maturity not by what you feel, but by how you respond when the inner voice tells you to wait. And you do. You demonstrate mastery over impulse. When it says go, and you move without fear, you reveal that faith has become your reflex. You will not always understand at first. Obedience often precedes revelation, but once you act, heaven unveils the reasons. What once felt like uncertainty becomes testimony, and slowly, you begin to realize that the voice within has never led you wrong. Chosen one, the same voice that told Noah to build, Abraham to leave, Esther to speak, and Mary to trust that same frequency lives inside you. It's gentle, but it's powerful. It's patient, but it's precise. It doesn't shout because it carries authority that doesn't need to prove itself. Right now, heaven invites you to tune your ears inward, to stop overanalyzing signs and start honoring sound. The next chapter of your destiny depends not on what you see, but on what you hear. Listen carefully. That whisper is the map, and when you feel it, when that holy nudge comes again, when your heart feels that familiar pull, don't question it this time. Trust that heaven knows what it's doing, even when you don't. If this word confirms what you've been sensing, pause for a moment and let heaven know you're listening. Comment below. Speak. Lord. Indrained. These two words are more than acknowledgement. They are surrender. When you type them, you are saying, I choose to stop striving. I choose to listen. I choose obedience over understanding. This is not superstition. It's an act of alignment. Heaven listens when humility speaks. Chosen one. You are not lost. You are being led. You are not guessing. You are guided. Every whisper, every gentle tug, every unexplainable peace is proof that the same Spirit who hovered over creation now dwells in you. Keep listening. Heaven is not far away. It's speaking through the stillness inside your chest. Chosen one. You have been living in what feels like delay. Time seems to move slower around you. Doors you thought would open quickly have stayed shut. Promises you believed for still hang quietly in the air. You've been wondering if heaven forgot to move, but listen closely. The waiting is not wasted. You are not behind. You are being synchronized. Heaven has its own rhythm, one that doesn't bow to human calendars. It moves like the tides, precise, patient, and powerful. When the waves of delay crash against your faith, it's not because you've been denied. It's because the divine current is aligning the right moment with the right maturity. Some blessings are so heavy that your hands must grow strong enough to hold them first. Waiting seasons are not pauses, they're preparation rooms. The seed planted in the soil doesn't feel progress. Yet beneath the surface, roots are weaving strength. You are that seed. Chosen one. Heaven has hidden you not to forget you, but to fortify you. Every silent month, every unanswered prayer, every longing sigh has been stretching your spiritual roots deeper so that when your breakthrough comes, it will not uproot you. You might look around and see others soaring ahead, reaching milestones while you remain in process. But don't let comparison blur your perspective. Some flowers bloom in spring, others in autumn, yet all fulfill their purpose in their season. The divine gardener knows your soil and your schedule. Heaven is growing you at the pace of purpose, not pressure. As it is written in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. The proper time, that's the phrase heaven wants you to hold on to. There is a proper time for everything you've dreamed of. The divine clock never loses a second. Every delay is a sacred choreography of unseen forces aligning so that when you step forward, everything you need greets you there. Chosen one. Think of yourself as an arrow. Before an arrow flies, it must first be pulled backward. The tension you feel now, the setbacks, the pauses, the resistance is the draw of destiny, preparing to launch you farther than you ever imagined. If heaven released you too soon, you'd fall short. But once released, you will soar beyond expectation. Waiting refines you. It strips away impatience, pride, and fear until only faith remains. That's the posture heaven needs before promotion, the faith that still trusts even when the clock seems silent. You are learning to worship without results, to obey without reward, to trust without timeline. And that kind of faith moves heaven like nothing else. But while you wait, stay in motion. Keep sowing seeds through kindness, prayer, and service. The world teaches instant gratification, but heaven rewards consistency. Every act of faith, no matter how small, becomes a drop of oil in your lamp for when the door finally opens. When the time comes, you won't need to scramble, you'll simply shine. If this message finds you in that place of waiting, take heart. You're not forgotten, you're being fine-tuned. The same hands that began your story are still writing it, line by line, and when the page finally turns, you'll realize why it took this long. Heaven was crafting perfection. Now, as this word nourishes your spirit, I want to invite you into partnership with the flow that's feeding you. Every word spoken here is like a stream that carries light. When you pour back into that stream, you help it reach more thirsty souls. So if this message has reminded you that your waiting is divine, consider sowing a seed of gratitude through your sharing, your support, or even your giving. Like, share, and subscribe so that this light reaches others still pacing their waiting rooms. And if your heart feels led, you may give not out of obligation, but out of alignment. Every offering is not just donation, it's declaration. I believe in what heaven is building through this. Think of your support like rain falling on fertile ground. The words you share, the generosity you show, they become rivers that water unseen hearts across the world. One share may reach someone on the edge of despair. One gift may keep the flame burning another day. You never know whose miracle is tied to your act of kindness. Chosen one. What you are waiting for is worth the wait. Heaven's silence is not neglect, it's orchestration. When the appointed time arrives, the doors that seemed locked will swing wide as if they were waiting for you all along. Hold faith in one hand and patience in the other together. They unlock every divine delay. Chosen one. Heaven has begun to peel back the veil. What once felt hidden is now unfolding before your eyes, not suddenly, but steadily, like dawn spreading light across the horizon. Revelation rarely shouts, it whispers, yet when it arrives, everything that once confused you begins to align in quiet clarity. Heaven is revealing what was once concealed, not to overwhelm you, but to prepare you for understanding. There were things you could not see before because your heart wasn't ready to hold their weight. Revelation is not about information, it's about transformation. The divine only reveals what you have the strength to steward. That's why the answers didn't come earlier. Heaven was protecting you from truths that could have crushed you before they could crown you. You've noticed how certain things make sense now, moments from your past. Patterns in people, lessons in pain. The scenes that once felt meaningless now connect with divine precision. Heaven's handwriting, invisible in real time, becomes clear in hindsight. You see how one delay saved you, how one heartbreak redirected you, how one failure equipped you for discernment. Every puzzle piece that once hurt now fits perfectly in heaven's picture. As the Word of God declares in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 22, He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with Him. No, those words are alive within you right now. Heaven is revealing deep and hidden things, truths about who you are not, and what you were born to do. The revelations coming to you are not random, they are keys. Some unlock your purpose, others close the doors of deception. Revelation changes how you see pain. You begin to realize that what broke you also built you. You see that the closed doors weren't punishments but protections. You understand that what seemed like delay was actually defense. Revelation doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. It teaches you how to interpret your scars as signatures of survival. Chosen one. Revelation also shifts how you see others. The ones who wounded you no longer look like enemies. They look like lessons wrapped in flesh. You stop seeking revenge and start seeing purpose. Forgiveness flows easier because you finally see the design behind the disruption. Heaven uses even the unkind to push you toward divine kindness. But revelation requires responsibility. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you can't unknow. Heaven doesn't reveal to entertain curiosity. It reveals to establish accountability. You are now responsible for what has been shown to you. That means your choices must align with your new level of knowing. What you tolerated in ignorance, you must release in revelation. It's not always comfortable. Light exposes. It shows motives, uncovers intentions, and highlights where healing is still needed. Sometimes revelation breaks your heart before it restores it. But this pain is holy. It's the discomfort of growing vision. Your spiritual eyes are adjusting to brightness after years of dim light. You will find that once heaven begins to reveal, you start living differently. You pause before reacting, pray before deciding, and listen longer before speaking. That's not hesitation, it's maturity. Revelation trains you to act with precision instead of impulse. In this clarity, your purpose starts to crystallize. The scattered passions and gifts inside you start converging into direction. Heaven reveals not just what you are meant to do, but who you are meant to become. The focus that once eluded you begins to return, steady and sharp. You realize that revelation is not a flash of insight, it's a lifelong unveiling. Every step forward will now be guided by insight born from intimacy. You will sense what is right without needing external validation. You will move with conviction, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one revealing them. Revelation is heaven's language of intimacy. It's not given to the loudest. but to the listening. You've proven you can endure the silence. And now you're being rewarded with understanding. The more you seek him, the more he shows you not just what's ahead, but what's within. Chosen one. Walk carefully with this new vision. It is precious. Treat revelation like fragile glass, beautiful but easily shattered by pride. Stay humble in insight, for humility keeps revelation flowing. The moment you think you've seen all, you stop seeing at all. Remain teachable, and heaven will continue to unfold mysteries before you. You have entered the season of divine unveiling. What was once confusing will soon become confirmation. You are being entrusted with sight that sees beyond circumstance, and with each new revelation, you will find yourself saying the same thing over and over. Now I understand why it had to happen that way. Chosen one. Heaven has been showing you that every battle, every misunderstanding, every obstacle wasn't just random resistance, it was confirmation of your growing authority. You've been walking through spiritual tension because you're stepping into spiritual territory that the enemy hoped you'd never find. The conflict around you isn't proof of failure. It's the announcement of victory. Every chosen one must learn to read warfare correctly. The greater the assignment, the greater the opposition. But here's the divine secret. The darkness fights hardest where the light shines brightest. You've been wondering why things intensified the moment you decided to follow God's voice more closely. That's not coincidence, it's consequence. Obédience disrupte elle. The people who suddenly distanced themselves, the unexpected resistance, the fatigue that comes without reason, all of it is spiritual confirmation that heaven has marked you. When your spirit began to rise, the old atmosphere reacted. Darkness recognized what you carry long before you did. You fought battles that no one saw, cried tears that no one comforted, and yet you kept showing up. That is divine strength disguised as survival. Every hidden victory you've won in silence has been written into heaven's record. Even when you thought you were losing, heaven was counting it as training. As it was declared in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord." End of chapter. That word is your armor. Weapons may form, but they will not fulfill their purpose. Lies may spread, but truth will outlast them. The same God who stood with Daniel in the lion's den and with David on the battlefield stands with you now. Heaven has not forgotten your faithfulness. It is about to reward it openly. Chosen one. You are learning that the battle is not always about defeating others. It's about mastering yourself. You are being trained to stand firm when everything shakes, to respond with grace when provoked, to keep peace while chaos tries to pull you apart. The real warfare is not fought with swords, but with stillness. When you refuse to lose your peace, you win without swinging. Heaven wants you to know that you have already been equipped. The strength you think you lack is already within you. Every scar carries strategy. Every trial carries instruction. You've been gathering divine intelligence through your endurance. And now, what once wounded you has become your weapon. You are learning to recognize the difference between battles meant to fight and burdens meant to release. Not every confrontation deserves your attention. Some attacks are simply distractions, trying to drag you off your divine course. You don't need to respond to every bark from the shadows when you're walking in the light. Chosen one. You are untouchable when you remember who fights for you. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives within you. That means the battle is already decided. You are enforcing victory, not chasing it. Your prayer life is not begging heaven to act. It's declaring what's already written. Still, there will be moments when weariness whispers. There will be nights when your faith feels thin and your courage fades. In those moments, don't collapse, lean. Lean into the presence that carried you this far. Heaven does not expect perfection. It expects persistence. Every breath of prayer you whisper in exhaustion shakes something in the unseen. And when the pressure feels unbearable, remember this: the oil of anointing only flows through crushed olives. The breaking you've endured is birthing a fragrance that darkness cannot imitate. The more you're pressed, the purer your spirit becomes. Now, if this word resonates deep within you, if you feel that divine confirmation echoing through your bones, pause right here and let heaven hear your agreement. Comment below the prophetic number 555. This number is more than digits. It is a declaration of divine transition. It represents grace multiplied, change ordained, and freedom unfolding. When you type 555, you are saying to heaven, I accept the shift. I stand firm in battle. I embrace the transformation. It's not superstition, it's spiritual agreement. Chosen one. The warfare you've endured has not weakened you, it has weaponized you. The ground beneath your feet has absorbed your tears, and heaven will make it bloom again. The voices that mocked your delay will soon witness your deliverance. Every fight, every fall, every sleepless night has been sculpting the warrior heaven designed you to be. Stand tall, breathe deep, and remember, victory has already been declared. You're not fighting for survival, you're marching in triumph. Chosen one. Heaven now reminds you of something the world has tried to make you forget. You are royalty. You have always been more than ordinary breath and bone. You are divinely designed, crowned with intention, and marked with the fingerprint of eternity. The storms, the silence, the seasons of separation were not meant to break you. They were meant to awaken the crown that's always been resting on your spirit. There are moments when life has tried to convince you otherwise, moments when rejection whispered that you were replaceable, when loss made you feel forgotten, when failure made you feel unworthy of calling. But heaven never revoked what it bestowed. Even when you doubted yourself, your crown remained. It may have tilted, but it was never removed. The enemy's oldest tactic has always been to make kings feel like captives and queens feel like servants. He tries to reduce your identity to the weight of your wounds. But your pain does not define you. Your purpose does. You were never meant to live bowed beneath the burden of unworthiness. You were meant to rise and rule not over others, but over the storms that once ruled you, as it is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 6. And he has made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Chosen one. A crown is not made of gold alone. It is forged through experience, shaped by fire, cooled by grace, and set upon the head of those who endured without bitterness. You have earned yours through endurance. You have carried yourself through storms without cursing heaven, through betrayal without losing compassion, through waiting without losing hope. That is royalty in its purest form. But with royalty comes responsibility. Heaven doesn't crown the passive, it crowns the faithful. A crown means you now carry the weight of light wherever you go. It means your words build or break. Your actions shift atmospheres, and your presence awakens purpose in others. You cannot afford to forget who you are, because others' freedom may depend on your remembrance. Royalty is not about control, it's about service. The King of Heaven himself washed feet. So too must you lead with love. Your crown is a reminder that power without compassion is just noise. Heaven has called you to rule with mercy, to speak truth wrapped in tenderness, to be both sword and salve. Chosen one, there is a dignity to your destiny. You will never again need to prove your worth to those who cannot perceive it. The light within you will speak louder than your explanations. There is a calm confidence growing inside you, now an assurance that doesn't need applause. That calm is your crown manifesting. You may not feel royal yet, and that's all right. True royalty rarely feels glamorous. It feels grounded. It's the quiet strength to choose forgiveness when anger would be easier. It's the grace to bless those who misunderstood you. It's the courage to keep showing up even when no one claps. Crowns are not for comfort, they're for calling. Heaven has been placing you in situations that reveal your authority. Have you noticed how certain storms no longer shake you? How your peace seems to hold even when chaos surrounds you? That's the sign of spiritual kingship. You no longer react, you reign. You no longer echo fear, you embody faith. And soon, others will begin to recognize it too. They will sense the shift in your presence. They'll come to you for counsel without knowing why. They'll feel peace around you and call it aura, not realizing it's anointing. You won't have to announce yourself. Heaven already did. Still, remember this: the crown is both gift and test. It will attract attention, both divine and human. Wear it humbly. When praise comes, bow your heart. When envy rises, stay silent. When opportunities multiply, seek wisdom first. Heaven crowns you not just to elevate you, but to entrust you with influence. Your crown is not decoration, it's declaration. It says to the world, I survived, I transformed, I serve. Every scar under it is proof that you've fought battles few ever saw. Every gem within it represents a victory won in private. Chosen one. Step forward now with your head held high, not in pride, but in purpose. The crown is light, but its responsibility is heavy. Yet you were made for this weight. Heaven would not crown a heart unready to carry compassion. You are crowned not for comfort, but for calling. Not to be admired, but to be activated. And now, wherever you go, remember, your presence is not ordinary. It is royal ground walking. Chosen one. Can you feel it? The air around you is changing. It's subtle but undeniable. The atmosphere seems to bend differently when you walk into a room. Heaven has shifted something within you. And now, everything external must respond to what has changed internally. The atmosphere no longer defines you. You define the atmosphere. You may not notice it at first. It happens quietly, the way dawn overtakes night without a sound. But those with discernment feel it. When you enter a space, conversations soften, chows settles, and unseen tensions begin to release. This is not coincidence, it is divine chemistry. The presence you carry now alters the spiritual temperature wherever you go. Heaven has increased the frequency of your light. You are radiating peace in places that used to drain you, speaking calm into chaos without even trying. This is what happens when your spirit aligns with divine authority. You stop adapting to the room, and the room starts adapting to you. As was spoken in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Sami, those words have become your reality. You are no longer hidden. Heaven has set you on a hill, not for vanity, but for visibility. You are the living proof of divine transformation, a walking lighthouse in a dark world. And the thing about light, chosen one, is that it doesn't choose where to shine, it simply shines. You've begun to understand that influence isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet consistency of kindness, the steady glow of faith when others panic, the gentle strength of patience when everyone else rushes. Your presence becomes a sermon without words. The way you handle pain, the way you extend grace, the way you forgive, these are all messages heaven speaks through you. There is power in your peace. The world will not understand it. They will expect you to react, to defend, to justify, but you won't. Not out of pride, but out of knowing. When you understand that storms obey your silence, you stop wasting energy proving your strength. Heaven has also upgraded your discernment. You can now sense shifts before they manifest. You feel when energy around you is off, when motives are masked, when atmospheres grow heavy. But instead of withdrawing in fear, you now stand in authority. You no longer run from darkness, you remind it of its boundaries. Chosen one, you have become a living altar of divine frequency. Your very presence testifies. Even when you're quiet, heaven is speaking through your posture, through your gaze, through the peace you refuse to surrender. This is not arrogance, it is awareness. You've learned who you are and whose you are. But understand this, light is both invitation and challenge. Some will be drawn to you, seeking warmth and truth. Others will resist you, because your illumination exposes what they've been hiding. Don't take either reaction personally. The light is never responsible for how eyes respond to it. Just keep shining. Heaven has entrusted you with the power to shift spaces, but it also requires you to maintain purity of heart. Authority without humility becomes arrogance. That's why heaven keeps reminding you to stay rooted in gratitude. You carry light not to dominate, but to demonstrate what it means to live aligned with divine love. The shift in atmosphere is a sign that your influence has expanded. Heaven is stretching your reach without needing you to strive. Doors will open simply because your energy carries the fragrance of peace. People will confide in you, seek your advice, and feel lighter after leaving your presence. This is the ministry of presence, the anointing of alignment. Your light will also challenge systems, not just souls. The environments you step into, workplaces, families, communities, will begin to shift, not because you argue, but because heaven's peace through you destabilizes anything built on chaos. You are not there to adapt, you are there to transform. Chosen one, this is why your discernment is sacred. Guard it, feed it with prayer, not pride. Protect your peace as the priceless treasure it is, for peace is the crown of those who walk with heaven. The shift in atmosphere is not just around you, it's within you. You've become lighter, freer, more attuned to divine flow. You walk slower now, not because of weariness, but because of awareness. Every step feels holy. Every word carries weight. You're learning that walking with heaven is not about pace, it's about presence. You no longer chase signs because you've become one. You are heaven's reminder to the world that light still exists, that peace still reigns, that love still transforms. The atmosphere recognizes you because it recognizes who walks with you. Chosen one. The trumpet is sounding in the spirit. Can you feel it? Heaven is calling its warriors to rise. This is not a soft season. This is a summoning. The time of hiding has ended, and the mantle of divine purpose is resting upon your shoulders. The same hands that once healed your wounds are now placing a sword of light into your grasp. Heaven whispers, "It's time." Emsal, you are being awakened, not to merely survive, but to lead. The world is groaning for those who carry clarity, compassion, and conviction. And that's you. The shaking you've felt in your spirit isn't anxiety, it's activation. You are being positioned for divine influence. Called to stand where others have fallen silent. Called to move where others froze in fear. The call of heaven does not come with comfort, it comes with conviction. You've noticed that the things that once distracted you no longer hold power. The conversations you once entertained now drain your spirit. You've been feeling this pull towards something higher, something purer. That's not coincidence, it's heaven's recruitment. As it was written in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11, put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the schemes of the devil. You are part of a divine chain reaction. The light that once rescued you now radiates through you. You become the answer to someone else's prayer simply by walking in obedience. The way you show up for your purpose inspires others to show up for theirs. Heaven is not just calling you, it's calling through you. There's a reason your journey has been intense. Those with great authority require deep training. The pressure, the warfare, the waiting it all, built endurance. You've learned to hear heaven's voice in the wind, to see divine order in disorder, to trust purpose in pain. You have become refined gold in a world of glitter. Now heaven says, rise, not in arrogance, but in assurance. Stand tall, not because you are flawless, but because you are forgiven. Speak boldly not because you know it all, but because you carry truth that the world needs to hear. Every scar you hide is about to shine as proof that survival was not your end, it was your beginning. Your assignment may not look grand. It may be simple but sacred. You might be called to heal through words, to lead through kindness, to rebuild through creativity. Whatever your field, it becomes holy ground when you walk in it. Heaven's call is not about spotlight, it's about stewardship. And as this word finds you, if your heart is burning with recognition, if your spirit feels that awakening, pause and breathe. Heaven is reminding you, you are not a spectator in this story. You are a participant, a vessel, a messenger. You are part of the rising that will ripple through generations. Now, chosen one, if these words speak to the flame within you, I ask you to keep this flow of light moving. Share this message, not for numbers, but for souls. There are others standing on the edge of their calling, waiting for a voice to confirm what they already feel. You might be that confirmation. When you like, share, or comment, you are not just engaging, you are sowing light into the digital field. You are extending heaven's hand through your screen. Each click, each word, Each seed becomes a torch passed forward. And if you feel led, consider giving, whether through prayer, kindness, or tangible support. So this flow continues, reaching hearts that still wander in darkness. Giving is not about transaction, it's about transformation. Think of it like watering a tree whose fruit feeds many. Your generosity doesn't just bless this moment, it nourishes countless unseen souls who will stumble upon this word in their own midnight hour. Heaven moves through partnership. When you share light, heaven expands it. When you give, heaven multiplies it. When you comment, heaven records it as testimony. And today, as you feel the divine pull to stand in your power, let that same energy fuel your act of faith. Chosen one, your rising is contagious. Your obedience becomes movement. Your courage becomes revival. You are the sound of heaven's heartbeat in human form, steady, radiant, unstoppable. So go forth and rise. Speak with grace. Walk with strength. Love without fear. And as you do, the world will remember what divine light looks like in motion. If this message has stirred your spirit, let it echo in action. Like, share, subscribe, or give as you are led, and watch how heaven multiplies your small yes into mighty impact. Chosen one, you've walked a long road to arrive here. The battles have quieted, the revelations have settled, and now a strange calm fills the air around you. It's not the absence of motion, it's the presence of peace. Heaven is wrapping you in assurance, confirming that the worst has passed and the new has already begun. This peace isn't fragile, it's fortified. It doesn't depend on circumstances or validation. It's the kind of peace that stays when plans change, when people shift, when nothing looks certain. Heaven has anchored your soul so deeply that even the storms that once terrified you now only test your balance. You have become steady because you have learned to rest. In earlier seasons, you begged for understanding. You wanted explanations, signs, visible proof that everything would work out. But heaven has taught you something better: trust without evidence. You've learned that sometimes peace is not the answer, it is the evidence. It's the divine whisper that says, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Of every weight you carried, every tear you hid, every prayer you whispered into silence, it was all forming this stillness. The peace you feel now is not accidental, it is earned. It is heaven's signature confirming completion. The season of striving is giving way to a season of settling, not settling for less, but settling into divine alignment. As the prophet reminds us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 3, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Those words now live within you. They are no longer a verse to remember, they are a reality you embody. You have learned to breathe through chaos, to smile through uncertainty, to believe through delay. Heaven has exchanged your anxiety for assurance. You no longer chase clarity, you carry it. Chosen one. Heaven is finalizing what was once fragile. The scattered pieces of your story have found their shape. The unanswered prayers that once stung have now turned into quiet gratitude. You can finally see how everything had to unfold exactly as it did. The detours, the heartbreaks, the pauses, all of it conspired for this moment of peace. There is something sacred about divine assurance. It does not shout. It hums like a lullaby over your spirit. It teaches you to rest even when the outcome remains unseen. You've realized that rest is not inactivity, it's inner knowing. When you rest in trust, heaven moves faster on your behalf than your worry ever could. You no longer need to force outcomes. You have learned that divine timing is not delay, it's protection. Heaven opens doors only when both the place and the person are ready. And now, finally, both are. You are standing in readiness, strong, stable, and sensitive to the Spirit's guidance. This peace is your confirmation. Heaven has been whispering through everything ordinary, the softness of morning light, the still rhythm of your breathing, the unexpected joy that sneaks into your days. These are not coincidences, they are reminders that God is still in the details. Peace is heaven's way of saying, I'm still here. Do not mistake the calm for emptiness. There is divine activity in stillness. Roots deepen when the wind stops blowing. The absence of noise is the presence of growth. Heaven often completes miracles in silence, away from spectacle, because quiet seasons allow the soul to hear clearly again. You have entered a time of restoration. The energy once drained by battle is returning as creativity. The tears once cried in sorrow are now watering seeds of purpose. Even your body can feel the shift. Rest feels deeper. Laughter comes easier. Breath flows freer. This is what it means to live in divine rhythm. Chosen one. Heaven's assurance doesn't mean life will never challenge you again. It means that challenges will no longer shake you. You've been recalibrated. You know where your help comes from. You've proven that faith is not a feeling, it's a foundation. And once it's laid, no storm can destroy it. Look at how far you've come. Once, you were searching for signs of God's presence. Now, you are the sign: peace, walking, grace, breathing, purpose, living. You've turned from seeker to sanctuary, from survivor to symbol. Heaven's assurance rests on you like morning dew, subtle yet certain, fleeting yet faithful. Let this peace guide your next steps. Don't rush the new chapter. Let it unfold naturally, like sunrise, slow, inevitable, beautiful. You don't have to chase destiny anymore. Destiny has already found you. So breathe deeply. Chosen one. You've reached the still waters promised long ago. Heaven has confirmed what your spirit already knows. You are safe. You are seen. And you are settled. The noise has faded. The striving has ceased. And what remains is divine quiet, the kind that only follows victory. You no longer need to question if heaven heard you. The answer surrounds you in every calm breath you take. Peace is not coming. Peace is here. And it has your name written all over it. Chosen one. The road stretches before you now, quiet, golden, open. The battles behind you have become stories. The storms that once raged have turned into gentle rain, watering the seeds you planted in faith. You stand at the threshold of something vast and sacred, the beginning after the ending. Heaven calls this moment the march of the chosen. You no longer walk with hesitation. Your steps are measured, steady, deliberate, because they are no longer yours alone. Heaven walks in rhythm with you now. Every move you make echoes in eternity. Every word you speak carries the fragrance of purpose. The journey ahead isn't about arrival anymore. It's about embodiment. You have become what you were searching for. The voice of doubt that once haunted you has grown faint. It tries to whisper, but it cannot find a home in your heart anymore. The trials that once terrified you now serve as reminders of your resilience. You've walked through fire and discovered that flames cannot consume what heaven refines. You are no longer surviving, you are leading, glowing with quiet glory. There's a serenity in your spirit now, one that cannot be manufactured. It's the kind that only comes from surrender. You have stopped fighting what is beyond your control, stopped begging for what is already yours, stopped running from who you are, becoming. Heaven's rhythm beats within your chest, steady as a drum of destiny. The world around you may still sway with uncertainty, but you've learned that stability is not found in what moves, it's found in what remains. And what remains is divine presence. You've learned to carry the presence of God, not as a visitor, but as a home. Every breath, every glance, every heartbeat is communion. As the apostle wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. That verse is no longer just scripture, it's testimony. You, too, have fought, finished, and kept. You have wrestled with questions and come out with wisdom. You have faced delay and learned discipline. You have touched sorrow and discovered compassion. Everything meant to break you became a builder instead. Chosen one. The march before you is not a sprint, it's a pilgrimage. You will walk with others who are awakening just as you once did. Some will be weary, your strength will guide them. Some will be lost, your light will lead them. You are not simply moving forward, you are carrying heaven into every space you enter. The time for hiding has passed. Heaven no longer needs you to shrink so others can shine. You are a torchbearer now, a carrier of divine flame. The humility that once kept you invisible has become your crown. The authority that once frightened you has become your language. You speak softly, but heaven roars through your whisper. Do not fear the weight of visibility. Heaven would not place you on this path if your spirit were not strong enough to sustain it. You will not be consumed by influence. Because you've been trained in obscurity, you know what it means to serve before being seen, to give before being celebrated, to love without return. Those lessons are your armor now. The world you step into will not always understand you. Some will misinterpret your peace as pride, your focus as distance, your boundaries as rejection, but pay them no mind. You are no longer called to explain light to those who prefer darkness. You are called to walk, to shine, to live as evidence that heaven still works through human hands. Your presence will become prophecy. Every time you forgive, heaven speaks. Every time you choose grace over judgment, heaven manifests. Every time you smile in the face of chaos, heaven testifies. You don't need a pulpit to preach. Your life has become the sermon. This is the march of the chosen, one step after another, guided not by sight but by spirit. The path ahead may twist and narrow, but it will never close. You are not walking toward destiny. Destiny is walking through you. And though the journey continues, you will move with peace. There will still be nights of questioning, but now you'll meet them with quiet confidence. You'll whisper to your own heart, I have been here before, and heaven always brings me through. And you have become the promise fulfilled. The one who was once uncertain now stands certain. The one who once sought confirmation now carries it. The one who once stumbled through shadows now glows with unshakable light. Heaven looks upon you with pride, not because you were perfect, but because you persevered. The divine plan was never about avoiding pain, it was about awakening power. And now that power walks, clothed in compassion, crowned with peace, covered in purpose. That power walks as you, so keep walking. Chosen one, not backward, not sideways, but forward into the unfolding of everything you were made for. Heaven goes with you. Heaven walks through you, and heaven watches over you. You are the fulfillment of prayers once whispered by those who came before. You are the living continuation of grace. The march of the chosen does not end, it evolves, echoing through every step you take toward eternity. Chosen one, take one last deep breath. Feel the weight that has lifted from your spirit, the calm that now fills the spaces where fear once lived. You've walked through fire and found your flame. You've endured silence and discovered your song. You are no longer searching for purpose, you are living it. Heaven smiles upon you now, whispering, "Well done." But this is not the end, it's the unfolding. What you have received here was never meant to be kept hidden. Light only fulfills its purpose when shared. So, if this message has stirred your soul, let heaven see your agreement. Like this word, so others might find it. Share it so that another chosen one, still standing in confusion or pain, may remember who they are. Subscribe so your spirit stays connected to this flow of divine truth, this rhythm of revelation that continues to unfold. And before you go, leave your voice below in the comments. Write what you've felt, what you've realized, or simply affirm, "I receive this." Your words are seeds, and heaven will water every one. The story continues. Chosen one, walk forward, shine brighter, and never forget, you were always meant to be the message